Major themes in the Epistle to the Hebrews. The Epistle to the Hebrews presents a deeply reflective and theologically rich exploration of the supremacy of Christ and the fullness of what God has accomplished through him. Written to encourage believers facing pressure and uncertainty, it weaves together doctrine and exhortation, calling readers to perseverance rooted in a clearer understanding of who Jesus is and what his work means. One of the central themes is the absolute supremacy of Christ over all previous revelations. The opening lines establish this foundation by declaring that God, who spoke in many ways through the prophets, has now spoken definitively through his Son. Christ is presented as greater than angels, greater than Moses, and greater than Joshua, emphasizing that he is not merely a messenger but the radiance of God's glory and the exact expression of his nature. This theme calls believers to fix their attention on him alone as the final and complete revelation of God. Closely tied to this is the theme of Christ as the perfect high priest. Unlike the priests of the Old Covenant, who were limited by sin and mortality, Jesus is portrayed as holy, harmless, and undefiled. His priesthood, after the order of Melchizedek, is eternal and unchanging. Because he sympathizes with human weakness, having been tempted yet without sin, believers are invited to approach the throne of grace with confidence. This priestly role is not merely symbolic, it assures continual access to God and ongoing intercession on behalf of his people. Another major theme is the superiority of the new covenant. The old system, with its sacrifices and rituals, is described as a shadow of the good things to come rather than their substance. Christ's sacrifice, offered once for all, stands in contrast to the repeated offerings that could never fully remove sin. Through his blood, a new and living way into God's presence has been opened, fulfilling the promise of a better covenant established on better promises. This underscores the completeness and sufficiency of Christ's work, eliminating the need for any further sacrifice. Faith emerges as both a defining characteristic and a sustaining force for believers. The letter provides a sweeping testimony of those who lived by faith, describing it as the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. The lives of figures like Abel, Abraham, and Moses illustrate a pattern of trusting God's promises even when fulfillment seemed distant. This theme culminates in the call to look unto Jesus, the author and finisher of faith, who endured the cross for the joy set before him. Faith, therefore, is not abstract belief but active trust that shapes endurance and obedience. The call to perseverance is woven throughout the letter with urgency and pastoral concern. Readers are warned against drifting away, hardening their hearts, or shrinking back. These warnings are balanced with encouragement, reminding believers that they are partakers of a heavenly calling and recipients of an unshakable kingdom. Endurance is framed not as mere human effort but as a response to God's faithful discipline, which produces righteousness in those who are trained by it. Finally, the theme of hope anchors the message. This hope is described as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, entering the presence behind the veil where Christ has gone before. It is not wishful thinking but a confident expectation grounded in God's unchanging promise and oath. This assurance strengthens believers to remain steadfast amid trials, knowing that their labor is not in vain and that what is unseen is eternal. Taken together, these themes form a compelling call to deeper trust and unwavering commitment. By presenting Christ as supreme, his priesthood as perfect, his covenant as complete, faith as essential, perseverance as necessary, and hope as secure, the letter invites believers into a life marked by confidence in God's finished work and endurance in the journey ahead.